everyone
Yeah.
has a different perspective, man? I mean,
Yeah. I've got an idiot idealistic kind of way of thinking where I don't know. I don't shut up and I'm loud and it's usually wrong. Hence playing brute.
well,
Yeah.
that's what's really cool about your content, I think, is you really embody Brute. Like you not only play
Yeah.
Brute, but dude, I love your stuff where you're dressing up as Reinar, you're out in the wild and you're showing the
Yeah.
deck tech. Tell me like what was your reasoning behind that? Did you want to just like make a cool deck tech video type stuff? Because just to give you a little background too, man, because I know it's hard with the interwebs, right? Like
Mm.
you and I haven't talked up until like a minute ago. So,
Yeah.
but I'm seeing you tweet a lot. I'm commenting on your tweets, and
Yeah.
we're commenting on our stuff. And I've done this for like the last 6 months. And before I even got into content creating, I would watch like all your videos, and I was like, oh,
Mm.
cool. Like this guy's like really you were in Flesh and Blood from the very beginning. And that's
Yeah,
so cool, man.
correct.
That is like badass. So my take on you is like, you've came up, you've really grown with the game. And
Mm.
what is it? So yeah, that's where I'm at with you, man. I really respect the hell out of you. But yeah,
So
tell me, so what's
yeah.
up with you, and tell me about like your beginnings of Fab. I'm really
Well,
curious.
I think I have to start a little bit before that because I used to record Dragon Ball Super content with a bunch of my mates. And from there on, after they were kind of done with the game because we just all hated the game, I was like, all right, well, I'll go on doing, my own content for the future. And then
Hmm.
one of my mates down at my locals was like, oh, you should try out this new game, Flesh and Blood, because, I was thinking about picking up Yu-Gi-Oh! I was thinking about picking up Magic the Gathering. I was like, sure, I'll try this out.
Hmm.
I just loved it straight off the bat. Like the Ira mirror matches. Like,
Mm.
do you remember the Ira starter decks?
Yeah, I have two. It's a
Yeah.
fun format to play.
Oh yeah, man. So like, and with the for the very first event, the demo event where they were giving out the Torrent of Tempo mats,
Uh
I
huh.
think there was like 30 people there, and I came first. I was like, yeah, I think this is the game for me.
Nice, dude. And I mean,
So
what's
yeah,
great about those mirror matches is if you lose, you really don't have an excuse. What are you gonna say? Oh, you had a
yeah,
better deck than me.
yeah. No,
It's the same
it's
deck.
literally the same thing. I mean, you can complain if they go like scar for scar, scar for scar, scar for scar, and then just
Oh
like
yeah.
hit you for like a billion. But yeah, I think the most fun that I've ever had out of Flesh and Blood is just Ira starter deck versus Ira starter deck. But yeah, so the whole idea of like me dressing up and then like going out into the wild, like with all my older content, I used to do a lot of deck profiles, but I
Hmm.
don't do deck profiles like anyone else does, and I always wanted to stick to that. Because like I don't sit there and I don't mumble around or anything. I try to have fun with it,
Yeah.
and it's something that I don't really see a lot of other people doing because it's like they just want to show you the content, but if someone's coming to your channel just for the deck profile, then they don't really care about your content as much.
It's a good
Like
point.
like let's say like, if that's your only content, then that's good. But it's like someone will like search up top 10 IRA decks deck lists. They'll watch your video, steal your deck list, and then go away. My idea was always to like kind of clickbait those people into like clicking onto my video, and then they see like this Australian man running in the fucking wild, pulling cards out of bins and all that,
It's
and
captivating, and you have cards
yeah,
like on the ground, like within like the leaves and stuff, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
look at this, and you have a good
yeah,
point too, because I mean, it takes 2 seconds to just put a FabDB link, and someone goes to your video and they're like, oh, I'll just get that, and I mean, how much are you gonna say along the lines of, oh, Command and Conquer, great card, it's
yeah.
amazing,
Great card. You
Enlightened
can't go
Strike.
wrong with it.
Great card. Can't go wrong with
Yeah,
it. Yeah, exactly. And you just do that for the rest of the video. 10 minutes is done. Like, thank you, goodbye. But it's like, But I really like how you put that spin on it.
yeah. It's my trademark.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and I usually record those with my mates. Like all my mates are like, camera freaks and all that. While when I had to move out recently,
Mhm.
All my camera gear and all my recording software got destroyed in floods.
Oh,
Not this
sorry, dude.
floods, but like floods before. So like that's why like the last deck profile was just like me on my camera, just out in the wild. But I found this really nice spot up in the Blue Mountains, which is like just a 20-minute drive from me, and like it's like an hour hike to get to the top of this mountain. I was like, yeah, I mean, I got to record something here.
Oh, was that the one you did recently? It was like 2 weeks ago, and
Yeah,
you were in like
yeah,
a fucking cave. Like that was dude. That was
yeah,
awesome. That was like just a
yeah.
cave up in like an hour hike up in the mountains.
Yeah, and I was like, I have to record here. There's this nice little like nook here that I can just sit in.
Yeah, it was
So
perfect,
yeah,
dude.
but like, so a bunch of my old, like a bunch of the guys that I used to record with, they're like, they saw that video and they're like, man, we got to bump up your quality again, man. They're like, we need to like get you running around and shit again. So there'll be more coming before Monarch and then after Monarch, of course, with them. But and then on the side, I've been making like really small projects where it's just kind of like me talking
Mhm.
like about the meta, about where I want Brute to go. Because I think I only really care about Brute, and I think that's only because I don't like to play something that's the best of the best. I always try and like experiment with other cards that don't really see play to try and get an angle around these other decks. Like, you know, my last deck profile, Promise of Plenty, Coaxum Commotion, and Cadaverous Contraband.
Mhm.
Three cards you never ever see in the meta.
Yeah, no.
Like, I personally love like Promise of Plenty. It's like this little thing that can get you a little bit of a draw, especially in Brute. I'd even played in Bravo as well. And Cadaverous Contraband is a card that will never leave my list from now on, like the put Blood Rush Bellows back on top of your deck.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, could what is it? Contraband. That one isn't that the one with the hay barrel? I think I know what the one you're thinking of. Isn't it the
No, I think
one
that
you play in
that
Arsenal?
uh wait, no, the Cadaverous Contraband is the if this card hits, you get to put an action card from your grave on top of your deck.
Oh, and that's good because if you're brute, you have the scab skins that give you an extra action point, and then you could do something from like Blood Rush after that, right? Or what was the
Yeah,
reasoning?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like, so the full idea is you can go like intim your opponent down and like swing with the claw, like if you're able to discard that turn. Like
Hmm.
it's good off a blood rush turn, and then you hit him for 6 after the end, where usually it's like a CNC or like massacre or alpha rampage. But you can hit with the cadaverous contrabands to set up another blood rush bellows for the next turn.
Mm. Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
and
I.
then but
Mhm.
no, you go, you go, you go.
I think you said something that I think a lot of people are going to find out in the future. You know, you said in that video, I remember distinctly. You said when I first saw this card, I thought it was like utter trash. I think you said
Yeah,
something like that. Please
yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong.
100%.
But then you were like
Yeah,
after, but then I looked at it after a while, and then I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. It synergizes with us perfectly. I think there's going to
yeah.
be a lot of common cards that people just aren't looking at now, and then in the future, like, oh my gosh, this synergizes perfectly. Like recently, I
Mm.
don't think it's too good now, but I think the the Moon Wish Sun Kiss. I know you talked about that.
It's my yeah.
Yeah,
Those are my favorite cards, like
dude,
100%.
those are really cool cards. And with Kano, I
Yeah,
think about it. If you have the one, I think it's Moon Wish, right? You can
yeah,
put a card on top of your deck
yeah,
instead of paying the ability. So you put a Kano card on the top of your deck,
yeah.
and
And
then
then
you
you
can
go, yeah, Kano ability, gain go again, draw a card, gain life, and then if it hits, you
exactly.
search the other one, and then yeah, yeah.
And if
Um,
you are able to put a Sun Kiss on the top of your deck, not only do you gain life and draw a card, but you also gain an action point because it has Go Again. So I
yeah,
just
yeah,
think it's such a good combo that I mean it's very the only issue with that type of stuff is it's high risk, high reward. But
yeah.
I could definitely
But it,
see other combos in the future where it's just very consistent and it's just a great combo. But yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like I feel like that might be a little bit better for like constructed over blitz because
Mm,
blitz is like the top contending against the top contending cards.
yep.
While with constructed, you can at least set up things and all that. But then you've got where Wizards always in a really weird spot in constructed where they've got 30 health and I've played Wizard a lot at my locals, and they'll just like not run any arcane barrier against me and just swing as hard as they can, so I just die.
Is that the best thing to do against Kano, you think? Just go ham? It seems like
I
that's the best
mean,
strategy.
like Warrior can do it, Brute can do it, of course, but like they run Skullhorn anyways.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, I'm hoping for a better future for Wizard constructed in the future, because like Blitz, like Wizard is amazing.
Yeah.
Like it's so fun to play. It's so fun to like Kano ability without whiffing because you play a 40 card deck, and every card that you want's kind of like not too far off.
Yep. And I can't tell you how
Yeah.
many times, man, I've seen where literally the Kano player's at like 1 health and somebody's swinging in for the kill. And then the Kano player,
Yeah.
literally, dude, he's like, wait a minute. And he waits literally 10 minutes. 10 minutes go
Yeah.
by. And then he's like, wait a minute, how much health are you at? 13? Oh, okay. This card, this
Yeah.
card, this card, this card does it. Or they Kano ability and pull some like ridiculous, like, card on the top that just
Yeah.
lets them, go in for the kill. And it's just so I've been in that situation as a Bravo player, and it's just so disheartening because you're like, I'm gonna kill you,
Yeah, I'm gonna kill you, bro.
but
Like,
why are you
yeah.
killing me? It
I
just
remember,
yeah.
yeah, not too long ago, I was versing Hayden Dale at our locals,
Hmm.
and it was Blitz, and he was playing Kano, and I was playing KO, and I go like Blood Rush Bellows, so
Hmm.
I discard the last card out of my hand because I think I blocked one card for turn. I was on, I think I was on 16 health. I had no cards in hand, and I think he was on 2 health, so I was meant to be like killing him for game. And he goes, "Okay, top of the deck, Flare of the Aether Wind. Wait, no, what's it called? The one that like buffs it by the amount of damage that it dealt." And then he goes it again, and then he goes in with a Fork Lightning afterwards from like Storm Strider. So like from
Oh
like, oh, like it was
yeah.
it was fucking amazing. But
I think it is Flare the Aether Wind. That one is the most ridiculous card because then
yeah,
your next ability gets +3, and then if you have what is
yeah,
it, Stir the Aether Wind to do like the amount of arcane at the end. I forgot what that card was, but yeah, you can just
Blazing Aether to do
blazing.
the
Yeah,
yeah.
that. Oh, jeez, so many flashbacks with that man.
So do you play in a lot of skirmishes? I'm not sure how many skirmishes there are in America.
Yeah, so I played 2 skirmishes over the weekend. I had to drop one, but then I played through another one. I went 3-2. I was happy. Yeah, I played a lot of
Yeah.
Kasai's randomly. I never. I think out of the last skirmishes, I have not versed an Ira, which is so weird to me. But yeah, man, I'm the same way with you. Like I started this game off and I looked at the heroes and Bravo just spoke to me, man. I just like how he
Yeah.
has a lot of defense and he
He's
just
just
goes
a
in for
Chad, bro.
yeah, he goes on big with attacks, but versing people like Kasai's and stuff, it's kind of disheartening with and I don't know if you feel this with a brute player as much. I don't think as much because you go full aggro, I bet. With me, I
Hmm.
have to play defensive the entire game and
Yeah.
like swing with my hammer when I can. But
Yeah.
yeah, but
It
overall I like the class, man. It's a lot of fun.
yeah, Brute's kind of really dumb cuz yes, you can intim your opponent's entire hand most turns, but you can't do that like turn like after your opponent's first turn
Hmm.
cuz then they're just going to hit you back even harder, and then you're going to try and hit them back even harder, but you probably can't. So like Brute, it's like this really, really weird spot where it's like 10 health. You can either intim them 4 and kill them, or
Hmm.
you try and play the tempo game and just lose every time.
Mm.
So for you, for a Bravo player, it's like the turns where you want to try and set up Crippling Crush, but you just can't get to it. Like let's say you get Showtime and then search Crippling Crush and put in your arsenal,
Hmm.
but you can't because you passed a turn. It's kind of like that with Brute because instead of like passing a turn, we have to like block off the turns where we like intim 4 or intim 3,
Oh,
and then we don't
gotcha,
have enough. Yeah, then we don't have enough cards to like end the game or like
gotcha.
enough health. So I 100% get your opinion on like you know having to try and set up, because if you don't set up correctly with Brute, you just lose 90% of the time.
Yeah, and
Unless
usually
your
I'll have
name's
to I'll have to
Yeah,
keep
go
my
on.
armor. Like if I have to not use
Yeah,
my armor at all, and then that turn where I have my crippling crush and 3 blues, I just use my
yeah,
armor, block it off, and then attack with the crippling crush. But yeah, I mean with Brute, what do you think about the like? He feels high risk, high reward. Do you feel that? And do you do a lot of things where you try to blood rush below, and you don't know what the top card of your deck is, and the scab
yeah,
skins?
yeah.
Do you run really risky? How do you feel
Uh,
about that aspect?
so I know it is very high risk, high reward, but at the same time, it's uh mainly a lot of setup.
Mm,
Like, of course, you can play like every card off the top of your deck, but I don't think people know this. But all brute cards trade evenly with the value that they're worth. So like, the best example is probably Pact Hunt. Swings for three. Swings for six,
mhm.
blocks for three, but like costs two to play.
Oh, that's pretty good.
And then Intim's one. So like it's good, but compared to like ninja cards, like let's say Flying Kick, which is probably their best card, which is third attack in a row, costs two, deals 7 damage, blocks for three. But um, so because of like every card trades equally, you could like block three, like all the damage you could block off brute, you can block off easily, except on
Mm,
the those off turns where you get blood rush bellows, and you get like what I like to play coax commotion into like art of war and all that, so you can get that extra chip damage in and then hit him with another intim at the end.
mm,
So it's this weird game with brute where like every card you play against your opponent, you know that they can block fully
mm.
unless you intim four.
Gotcha. Yeah, but when you do int him for, then you're just hitting face. I mean, there's really nothing they can
Yeah,
do
yeah,
unless, and they can't even play. Well, I guess they could play some zero cost defense react against in their
yeah,
arsenal. But other than that, you are hitting them in the face, and especially, I mean, what I love too is with Brute Kaio. He is the best like alt card for Blitz. Like I can't think
yeah,
of another like troll hero where you're just like
yeah,
I am YOLOing this shit. Like I am either
yeah.
gonna hit you for the most amount of damage you've ever seen in your life, or I'm gonna hit you for three. So
Nothing at all. Yeah.
yeah.
My favorite thing with KO is you can like intend to lose a swing on CNC, and then you just come over with a pummel over the top, and then they have to take the damage and destroy their arsenal.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, when I play KO, I play like 6 defense reactions, try and go as slow as I can, so I can get one big attack off. But yeah, at the end of the day, I wouldn't go to an event with KO because I don't want to like roll that bad every single time.
Yeah. Well, and I could definitely see him being good in the future if you do some sort of way where you can like make the odds in your favor, maybe with a gambler's glove and just I don't know,
Mm,
maybe if there's another type of card that lets you re-roll or something. But I think the key is like you're saying, like if you have attack reactions and you put them in your arsenal and you wait until he does hit your big roll, then you can
mm,
put your attack reacts on that big thing, and then you're like, okay, now you're dying like an
yeah,
OTK build. But yeah, I really like that one. Like and I don't think there's not another Guardian hero, right? I think it's just
not
Bravo.
yet. I reckon personally, I think there's gonna come like one come out in Monarch.
Hmm.
This is just a personal belief. I don't feel like we're gonna get 4 full new classes.
Hmm.
I feel like we're actually gonna get maybe 1 or 2 old classes and then 2 new here like full classes. This is just my opinions. We'll probably find out, tomorrow
Yeah.
what heroes we're getting. Like, I think the reveal season starts tomorrow.
Really? Oh, I haven't checked up on that.
Yeah.
I thought it was coming soon. Oh, sweet! I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm,
what were your thoughts when you saw the poster of the like dark and light? I mean,
oh,
that just blew me away, bro. I don't
I'm
know.
a big lore person. I know you are too.
Yeah,
Like, I
yeah.
remember watching your first videos, like on the full map and everything, and you pointing out all the things in it and everything.
Thanks, dude.
Um, Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, no, no. Like I don't look for those things, but when I see them, I'm like, oh yeah, yeah. This is what this is. Like same as the card back as well, where
Hmm.
it's you've got the demon ancestry and all that, and Solana fighting. Um, but yeah. So my thoughts of things that are coming, like, well, I want there's one card that I want from Monarch, which is
Yeah.
a generic card that can destroy equipment.
Yeah,
Because
that'd
God,
be
I hate
nice.
mechanologist.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, you're a
like
brute
as a
player. You have the only one in the game, right? Smash, Arc Smash.
but it's not even worth it half the time.
Yeah,
So
that's
like
true.
you have to see it like really early, and you have to hit their very first induction chamber. But if you see it late game, it's just a card that you have to block with or use for energy. So
It's true.
like in all my lists, like after a month after crew, I stopped running Arg Smash because it's so much of a gamble where you could roll one, and I don't run Gambler's Gloves. I don't like the card. I think
Mhm.
it's too much gambling when you run Gambler's Gloves. But
That means it has good
yeah,
flavor.
yeah,
Right? But no,
yeah.
you are
I
right.
guess you're right. Well, I usually either run Goliath Gauntlet or Ironrot Gauntlets. Just really depends on the matchup. But yeah, no, I think we definitely need a generic card that can destroy equipment because there's too many decks that kind of get out of hand, like Kano for one,
Mhm.
where they can set up like 4 potions and then just kill you in one turn, like from full health. And of course, Mechanologist with 6 induction chambers on their field.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, something like that, or so you're saying just item destruction or equipment?
Yeah.
Yeah, item.
No, yeah, just item.
Yeah, that
You
would be
know,
good. I
I,
mean,
I don't care if we have to like spend what like 4 copper coins for it. I'll try and
mhm.
set up for it.
And when you're saying that Kano build, I have heard of this one Kano thing in Classic Constructed, and I'm
Yeah.
not really too much I don't play that format too often. So you
You play
probably
Blitz?
I play Blitz mainly.
Me
I'm
too.
still trying to get into the game. I'm like I'm doing my best, but it's just a
Mm.
lot of fun so far. I'm not really in the competitive thing, but I have heard that there's a Kano build where you build up for a long period of time, and then you do this massive combo that does like
Mm.
80 damage or something. Have you heard of this?
Yeah, I made a deck profile of it.
Oh, okay, well,
Yeah.
I need to
Yeah.
look at that. I'm gonna look that up after that. So, how does it run? So, is that what you're saying? So, you put down all the resource items?
Yeah, so this was in Arcane Rising when I built it
Hmm.
because we didn't have as much like arcane block and all that. Yeah, your whole idea is you run like 10 defense reactions, like all your red sync blows, all your fate for scenes, all your unmovables, like all the red versions and all that.
Hmm.
It's set up with like 4 or 5 potions. And then you can go. I think the end combo is like stir the aether winds, use your stick, crack the robe,
Hmm.
like that gives you 3 resources. Crack Mage Master boots, and then come in with stir the aether winds into what fork lightning into blazing aether into blazing aether into blazing aether,
Oh my
and
gosh,
it's like a 4 card combo or 5 card combo, and
that's
like
crazy.
and so you get there in the end. So you know how earlier you're going on about Moonwish. That's
Hmm.
that's the way you get there by the end of the game because you use Moonwish and like you go Sunkiss, put Moonwish on top of your deck, use Kano ability, flip the card, draw a card, and then keep going. And you
Gotcha.
play like 9 copies of it.
And are there a lot of those decks? I mean, I feel like the dash deck is like that a lot too, right? Where you're setting up a lot and then you're doing some like crazy thing. Because basically with dash, you start out with a pistol and you're trying to upgrade to the machine gun. It seems, and and
Yeah.
slowly but sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that true? Right?
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And like, is that how a lot of games in Classic Constructor are, where you're trying to just set up some like really big turns for like those are the high meta decks? Because that deck sounds
So
crazy with Kano. 5 cards to
it's
do how much
it's
damage? Like,
so with 2 blazing aethers, it's
hmm
48 damage, but with 3, then it's like what is it, 100 no, I can't math right now. 96, right?
wow, yeah,
So,
over
something
it's something
higher,
like a
but
hundred.
like
It's
but
enough.
you can, yeah, it's enough.
Yeah,
But like because of that, like because how much arcane barrier stuff we have now, like the deck's not that good anymore.
yeah.
But yeah, as far as like classic constructed goes, I personally don't play it as much because of Dash and because of like Katsu as well. They
Hmm.
just so it feels like every hero that can get amazing value out of their weapons will always be the best. So
Hmm.
that's why you'll never see a good Ranger constructed deck because Ranger, as much as all the arrows are very good, you still need to rely on all those arrows to
That's a
get
really
you
good
anywhere,
point.
not your weapon. Um, and what are some of the other heroes? Maybe Viscerai. Viscerai is a little bit different though. They can play like OTK or they can play the tempo build.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm hoping for with Monarch, at least there's some sort of fix around those big build up decks, because a lot of people like constructed, in my opinion, because you can take a bunch of damage and then you can set up something big for later
Yeah.
turns, where in Blitz you can't really do that. You might have one turn to like take a full like handed damage, and then after that, if you try and set up again, you'll probably lose. While with constructed, Dash can take a bunch of damage down to like 20 health,
Hmm.
and then they can set up all their
Yeah.
induction
Induction
chambers.
chambers. Yeah.
Yeah, and then pistol for 4, go again. Pistol for 4, go again. Or like the high octane
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Toma Fyendal from Arsenal, then pistol, 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 pistol. Yeah, it's that's not a deck for me.
Too much thinking
Uh,
with that, man. I don't know. Well, the other thing though, I'm honest. I'm completely honest. The reason why I like Bravo too is he's simple as hell. You literally
yeah,
you wait for your crippling crush, and then that's your turn. Other than that,
yeah,
you're blocking with your blue pitch cards and your movables and stuff, and you're trying to
mm,
hit like one hammer, and it's like
yeah,
it's just so nice because when I see like I saw a Data Doll player and literally turn one, he did like 17 different actions. He's like, okay, I'm gonna do token here, 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 here. Shoot this, do this, this. He was putting his hands everywhere. I'm like, okay, are you done? Okay, great. My turn. I'm gonna hit you with
yeah.
my hammer. Coming in for 4. You take it?
Coming in for
Okay, your
4. Yeah,
turn. And then he's doing like 15 other actions. It's just too much for me. I don't know.
yeah.
But yeah, and Yazi, man, like I want to know too. So you've been around since the beginning. What was it like? So you started out with the Ira decks. Did your story like
Mm.
get these before Welcome to Wrath was even out?
Yeah, yeah. So one of my mates who was friends with the creators, and I think he also went over there for like the very first events,
Hmm.
and like was in those videos. So he came back with like a bunch of the demo decks, and and we went to our locals and we're like, can you run this event because this will be a game that will be played around here at least.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's kind of where I came from.
That's cool, man. And then when you got Welcome to Wrath, like how was that experience? Because I wasn't around in the beginning. Like I just saw like one of your earlier videos. Didn't you
Mm.
you talked about like Crippling Crush and it was like in September 2019 and I was like, wow, like I don't know, it's just been cool to be in that time period because I only came to the scene. I got in here late. I'm like when Crucible War
Arcane
was
Rising.
yeah, like
No,
little past that, around when Crew was releasing, and it's like
yeah.
I missed a lot of stuff. So like, what was it like with Welcome to Wrath?
So Welcome to Wraith was us all kind of like fumbling around with cards because like we didn't have the mindset of what we do today. It
Hmm.
was a lot of like, oh, this is cool, this should work with this, and then a lot of like, like trying to rely on your legendaries as much as possible. So like scab skin leathers, I'd roll every single turn. Doesn't matter what happens, I have to roll it. But I think it came down to I think it came down to like Ninja versus Guardian at the end of the day because those were the two decks that could like either dish the amount of damage back or like take the amount of damage if they want to.
Hmm.
But I think the coolest season from Welcome to Wraith was their reveal season. So like the very first reveal season,
Hmm.
I remember like I think it was we saw Dorinthia first, and we saw the 20 health hero first, and then we saw the 40 health hero. Like, imagine going from like seeing the Ira starter decks where it's only 20 health,
Yeah.
and then you see the like, a hero with 40 health, and you're like, what the hell?
What is this? This is
Yeah,
overpowered.
yeah,
That must have been crazy. Oh, so you're even saying that Classic Constructive wasn't even a thing in
yeah,
September 2019. They
yeah,
revealed it in like the end of 2019 with
yeah,
Welcome to Wraith.
yeah,
Wow.
100%. And along with that as well, cycle cards too, because you notice the Ira starter deck doesn't have like like blue, yellows, and reds of each card.
Oh yeah, you're right. It
Yeah,
was
so
just like
like, and then we saw cycle cards, and we're like, oh, okay, so there's a lot of cards that that we can potentially use. And I remember like I was like, oh man, I'm gonna play every copy of Scarf for Scar because Scarf for Scar was like the strongest card in the Ira decks.
mhm.
And it's like, oh, at the end of the day, I can always pitch the blue Scarf for Scar if I want to use something. So yeah, I think that the reveal season was really fun. And then when I saw Rhinar, I was like, yeah, this is the guy I'm playing.
Nice. I mean, I
Because
can't even imagine like now saying that to a new player, they'd be like, "What? Like, hasn't this always
yeah,
been a thing?" Like that, and that's
yeah,
what since I've been in the game, that's always been a thing. But that's cool how at the beginning of this, the Ira deck was the only thing you had, and then like
mm,
the sheet was like revealed off your eyes,
yeah,
and you're seeing the whole thing. I mean, that's crazy. So you started playing Welcome to Wraith. And then like you went into the Arcane Rising like season. How was that?
mm,
Because when I've talked to people about Arcane Rising, they say like I think a card was spoiled before the set came out, and it said arcane damage, and people were looking at like, what is this? I mean, do you just
uh,
take it? Is it true damage? Like, how is that? I don't
trying
know.
to figure out what card it was. I remember they accidentally leaked the card on their website, but I'm not sure if that was it. But yeah. So during Welcome to Wraith, of course, we had no arcane damage and we had no like wizards,
Hmm.
and a bunch of like people who didn't know the lore were all like, "Oh, we're gonna get wizards? Are we gonna get like spells and shit?" And everyone was like, "Oh yeah, we probably will." And I'm like, "Yeah, we definitely will. You just have to like read the book.
Yeah,
It says it like right in there. It's like
it's like page
wizards.
7.
Yeah, page 7. Sorry, I live with a bunch of dudes.
Yeah, you're good, man. But yeah, no,
Yeah,
it was like right there. You're right. So like, I mean, they
yeah,
hinted pretty early on in the book, man. And yeah, so when it came out, I can't imagine what that was like too.
yeah. It was like when we saw Viscerai for the first time, or at least for me, because who was like someone like really big illustrated Viscerai, and I always loved all of his illustrations
Is
because he does a lot
Kale?
of Kale.
Yeah, Kale from Dead Summer Art, right?
No, 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 no. Who
Oh, maybe someone
illustrated?
else. Oh,
Who
Steve
made the
Argyle.
card?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Steve Argyle. Like,
Yeah.
like as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, Flesh and Blood means business
Oh
because
yeah.
like he's not just a random guy that's you just randomly pick up. But and then like I think I was most excited for Wizard, and because it was like our first very like wizard hero, and it dealt something completely different that anyone else did. And I
Mhm.
remember when it first came out, everyone thought that wizard was completely broken,
Oh
and we
really?
couldn't do anything about it. Yeah, like we were like, oh, what do we do against this hero? This
Because there's
hero is
no null
crazy.
rune, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, well, we had 4 null
Oh
runes,
okay.
so you'd have to run your full equipment of null runes. I remember I even teched in, what was it, the rusted relic. So
Oh yeah.
you have to spend a turn putting it on the field, and then it's an extra arcane barrier.
Oh
But yeah,
yeah.
and then
Arcane Barrier
after
1.
yeah, and then after like 2 weeks, we're like, oh, okay, wizard's okay. He's not crazy, but he's okay.
Yeah, but that's good to know that like okay, they announced a new hero and he's not like completely broken right off the bat
Yeah.
because I think that's a really big concern that a lot of people have is that they're going to release new cards that are going to be
Mm,
better than the old ones, so people are just going to want to get those and the other ones aren't going to be as good. But so far, it seems like not like every set is
I
reasonably
don't.
balanced, I feel.
Yeah. So whenever I tell like I've got a lot of new mates who are now joining the game, I tell them every time, I'm like, there is no power creep in this game.
Yeah.
The only power creep comes from Majestics, which is 1 card or 2 cards each set, and that's it.
Yep.
Because whenever you bring out a new hero, that hero only deals value in a different way than another hero. So if you don't like that way this hero plays or any of the heroes play right now, there might be a hero in the future that you'll like, but it won't be any stronger than that. Let's say Bravo from set one.
Mm.
So for me personally, I don't think there's any power creep. The only real power creep we had was adding in another induction chamber to Mechanologist. That was the only power creep in my opinion.
Oh, you played some Dash players. Well, I mean, because it just makes that hero just a machine gun with all those things. If
Yeah,
you add an extra
yeah.
one, yeah.
So, well, our locals, it's either you'll either get Hayden Dale coming in with like a crazy deck and he'll come first, or it'll be a
Huh.
mechanologist player because it's mechanologist.
Yeah. And what is it? What I thought was cool about Arcane Rising, man, too, is it really looked like those type of heroes were more big-brained decks. Like you're doing a
Mm,
bunch of extra things, whereas Welcome to Wrath was more of simple stuff. It was still equal on
yeah,
par, but it was just a little bit more like thought process, especially Kano. I don't know how people play tournaments with that. Like 7 games in a row with Kano.
yeah. Make sure you have your weight picks in the morning.
Yep, and you got your Bayer aspirin on your desk with your
Yeah,
water bottle, so you can take a couple
yeah,
after every game. I mean, it's tough, all the math you have to run, but
yeah. I think like because how simplistic the first heroes are, that when Arcane Rising came out, like because how simple they are to play, they're that simple to play.
mm,
While Ranger is good, but it's only kind of good.
yeah,
So while then you got Mechanologist, which is I'm gonna say probably the easiest hero to play personally, even though I've never really played it.
no,
But
I
all it is
agree.
is
Out
just
of all of
set
them, I
up.
think, yeah,
Yeah, like this, you can't go wrong with set up 4 induction chambers, pitch, swing for 4 with weapon, and then go again. Like, and
exactly,
that's all the deck does.
yeah,
Like when we very first saw the hero and we saw maximum velocity, I was like, oh, this deck's gonna be like, banish the top card of your deck and then you can go again. And like this is what the deck is.
hmm,
Like kind of what shotgun dash is like today with blitz.
hmm,
But no, it was just set up all your induction chambers and just swing with pistol all game.
yeah. Well, and that's what's crazy about Dash, I thought, is because you can do the whole pistol game and just get a ton of value and be controlly and block, block, block. Or
Mm.
if you have a really good hand in your hand and you have like, yeah, maximum velocity and then like, a zipper hit and then 2-0 to 60s, then you're like,
Mm.
oh, I'm gonna just
Yeah,
wreck you for 25 damage next turn. So I like how it's you can do this whole control game with your pistol, but then on a moment's notice, like if you pick up that hand that you can just go for the kill, you can just,
yeah.
go in with that. But I do agree with you. Overall, I mean, mech, like I think it's very straightforward. I mean, when you're doing all
Mm.
these other classes, there's a whole thing where you take resources and you put them for next turn. With mech, you
Yeah,
literally have items on the field that you literally pitch and put, tokens for next turn. So it's easier to do that. But
yeah.
yeah,
I'll say one last thing about mechanologist because I think me and you just complaining a little bit too much about her.
we've been
But
burned.
so, oh yeah. um, so I think the worst thing about mechanologist is the fact that like let's say Bravo, you'll come in for crippling crush for 7 and it'll cost like 7 and then you'll have to gain dominate 2.
Hmm.
But like let's say you have 1 or 2 resources left over because you had like extra blue, that resources goes nowhere, right? It
Yep.
goes nowhere at all. You can't do anything with it. While with mechanologist, every card they like pitch, they're able to save for another turn.
Yep.
So like they'll come in for like like a lot with their pistol, but they can just like pitch 3, load up all their equipment, and then just pass turn. Which for me is like setting up a free energy potion every single turn,
Yep.
which I think is unfair. Like personally, I feel like is unfair because they're able to get value in a way that no other hero can.
Yeah.
Like every card that they pitch, they're able to like save.
Oh, totally.
While and they've already got their own class identity with like boost and all the cards, like all their equipment cards and all that. So like it kind of feels unfair where they get like free action points if they burn the top card of their deck. They they have all these really cool item cards that you never ever see because how good uh like pistol dash is.
Mhm.
And then on top of that, every card that they pitch, they're able to effectively use every single turn. And yeah, I think hoping going forward they do something about having so many like ways to keep that resource. But yeah,
No, I
that's
feel
my
that.
opinions on Dash.
No, no,
Yeah.
those are really great points. No, and you're right, because like when you pitch stuff, if you have extra resources, you just put it on whatever you have on the field, and definitely not overpowered, but I definitely think it's a lot easier. It's a lot less thinking that you have to do in your brain to like use
Mm.
things, and it definitely uses resources effectively. But yeah, man, I mean, so
Like
hmm?
you go, you go.
Oh, you can go.
I was gonna say like imagine like like every turn at after every single one of your attacks, you can put an energy potion on the field.
That'd
That's
be
what
so
it's like
nice.
playing Dash. Like, yeah,
And what's crazy is what I think the craziest thing is that synergy with her super rare or the one where it's her specialization cards, the one with the XX value, you can literally play it and get the Teklo core from your deck onto
anything.
the
Yeah,
field. No, yeah, you could pay 0 and Teklo core comes on the field, and that's literally an energy potion for 2 turns. You know?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, just very very strong hero. And so in classic constructed, you think she's really good?
overpowered.
Yeah.
Like I'll probably even go to the level where I don't think LSS thought she'd be this strong.
Mm.
From a personal opinion, like of course, no idea what they know or think, but I don't think they would think that people would be playing Dash this exact way
Yeah. No, no,
because
that's a really
it's
good
very oppressive.
oh, I bet. And when you're coming in I've been in a situation where Dash is shooting me 4 times every turn
Mm,
with 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and it's like, do I block all this? Like, what do I do from here? Like, once they get their machine gun, you have to go in
yeah,
for the win sometime soon or else, stuff's gonna happen, yeah,
and because of that, the other three heroes from Arcane Rising don't feel that powerful
mm,
compared to Dash. So like it really in constructed, it kind of just feels like we're playing five really good heroes and then three heroes that can be good if they get the right hand.
yeah.
While Dash just has that like automatically. That's just the part of their package.
Yeah. And one thing I really wonder with the heroes that we currently have, I wonder how many of them are going to become so much better when Monarch gets released. I mean, we've already heard so many times that like I've heard you probably heard like the pitch system will be realized or something along that
Yeah,
lines.
yeah.
Maybe something like that will make certain heroes that we currently have a lot better. I mean, hopefully Data Doll gets some gets some love because she definitely needs something.
I feel like so they were going on about like how they're going to add the last kind of resource or the last kind of thing. Like I can kind of see the shadow and light kind of things being like region locked cards.
Hmm.
So like where your hero comes from, that's the like you have these specific cards that you can use for your region. So like
Mm.
you know how Kasai's from Volclaw, but Dorinthia's from Solana. So you'll probably have specific cards that you can use with each. So
Oh,
like you look at
the
the
border.
shadow card. Yeah, the border is the same border as no
Viserai?
no no
Runeblade
no
stuff?
it's I don't think it's the same as the Runeblade stuff. And I know the one with from the light. Sorry, the one with the light is the same border as the ones from Solana.
Oh,
So like maybe it's region specific, or we're just getting copper tokens and gold tokens and
yeah,
that
currency.
might be just the last currency, which would be kind of cool if like we get cards where you can like repair your equipment with.
Hmm.
You can spend like 4 gold and repair your entire
Oh,
equipment.
I never thought about that. Yeah, that's what currency could be for. You're right.
Yeah, yeah,
Repairing equipment, because we know silver and gold is going to come.
yeah,
That'd be,
exactly. We just
huh.
don't know when.
That would be cool. Can you imagine, like, you have these decks where you constantly repair your equipment. I could see
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Bravo would be awesome because I have
Bravo.
all these
Yeah.
like 2 block armor, so just like block with it all early on, and then like it goes to the graveyard, and then I just resummon, and
Like
that yeah.
I was gonna say, like one of my favorite cards
Mhm.
from Guardian is Forged for War. Like that card just seems so cool because like you can like buff up your entire equipment.
Oh
But the
yeah.
bad thing about it is when you block with it, then it's gonna like the next time you block, it's not going to block for anything.
Yep.
So if we had a way of like repairing your equipment, you might be able to get like a lot of value out of like Forged for War. That like it's just my opinion. What would be really cool.
Oh, totally. And what's cool about it is you can use it with Mage Master boots, and it doesn't get the -1 counter. It's so
Yeah,
cool. Like I don't know how that makes sense, like in the world, but it's just funny how it's
yeah,
like gain an armor and then you don't get the -1 counter. But another thing too is I heard from this guy AJ from Adventure Co Gaming. He first told me that when equipment dies, it's supposed to really go to your
to your
graveyard.
grave.
So
Yeah,
maybe there's
correct.
new like cards to your point, maybe they heal your equipment or they could bring it back from your grave to your hero. Is that what you're talking about probably too?
Yeah, yeah, it's something
Yeah.
kind of like that, I guess. Yeah. Like, of course, like with all your battle worn stuff, that stuff will just stay on the field.
Hmm.
But everything that has blade break should just go to your grave. I mean, I'd be kind of annoyed if a ninja gets their mask back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they go block for 2, and you go, oh yeah, I don't have to deal with that anymore, and they just bring it back. But
Oh
yeah, no,
totally.
yeah, like with the card Cash In, like Cash In's such a cool card, but we don't have like a lot of really good ways to use it yet, other than in Warrior.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, hopefully we get like some really cool like copper token stuff, and yeah,
I mean, it's got to be something good. I mean, and to
mm,
your point, that's interesting. So I heard like resource system gets realized, but maybe it's not. Yeah, the main resource. Maybe it's you're right, currency, or maybe it's some
mm,
other resource type, dark and light. That and with the dark and light one, and if they had the region cards, I could see that because they have stuff like razor reflex. It's only good for like swords and one pitch cards, so it only use you can only use it with one stuff. So maybe they
yeah,
have cards with only, if your hero is from this land. And they did say something to the point of, it's gonna, I think James said something where it's going to encompass everything, like the lore and, the
yeah.
gameplay and all this stuff. So I could definitely see that because that would make sense with the lore. And it's cool that you like the lore of the Flesh and Blood, man. Like, how like blown away were you when you read that lore book, especially when you saw the front cover and the credit scene was like 8 people, and you're like, what the?
Yeah, I know.
How do they
I
do that?
remember, like, I got really angry at myself when, so there was a lady who did all the lore. She did
Mm.
like a live stream, and I missed it. I slept through the entire thing,
Oh
and I
no.
was like, oh, because everyone was asking like, oh, who's Fyendal? Who's Ophidia? I'm like, I don't care about that. I'm like, I want to know where like the like the power from Monsteria,
Uh huh.
Monsteria, where all the power from Guardians, like what is that? Like what is the like the
Oh, Arya,
definition of
where's
that?
the flow?
Yeah, from yeah, like what is that?
Yeah.
And that's something she could have easily explained, because it's like, well, this is what it is. It's the life force or something like that. But I wanted these like little questions and all that. And I'd ask her so there's a lot of like ninja lore that I really like ancestral empowerment, and
Mm-hmm.
all these card arts that line up with the lore and all that. Like
Yes.
Ira's brother is in what's it called? It's from set 1, and it's got this volcano, and it's got him with his bird. And I was gonna be like, oh, like, is that actually him, or am I just being crazy?
Oh yeah. Well, her brother that died or her brother that's still alive that is like,
The
well,
brother that's still alive.
oh,
And of
that's
course,
cool.
I had so many questions about Ira too, because like you can see on all of her arts that she's kind of like dying or fading away.
Yep.
And back then I
Because of
had
Edge
this
of
theory
Autumn.
where, yeah, because of the Edge of Autumn, because she's using it to like for vengeance rather than using it, to protect and like serve, which is what I think,
Yeah.
like to protect and serve, like her own thing. She's using it for vengeance instead. But like I had like massive lore questions about her. Like, is she actually dead now? And where do these adult heroes and young heroes, like, where are they in the story right now? Are we where they are when they're young, or are we there when they're older?
Yeah.
Because if they're there while they're older, what happened to Ira? Is she dead now, or is she a ghost? Is she a scepter? Or, like, did she turn into a fundamental or something like this? But I slept through the entire thing, and that felt like these are things that she might have at least been able to like explain a little bit to me.
Yeah, and she did that. So that was Nikki, I believe, and it was on the Radio
Yeah.
Reflex. They had the podcast is still up there. The Radio Reflex is really cool. I like those guys, Ian and
Oh yeah,
Alan.
me too.
Oh, really cool guys. And what is it? I know what you mean because I would have wanted to like ask so many different questions. And I wonder if there's just some stuff though. I feel like if we were asking the questions, Yazi, it'd be like no comment, can't
Yeah,
say.
no comment.
And
Sorry.
I don't blame. Like I feel like the lore and the artwork are something to be explored and adventured into
Yeah.
where
So
they intentionally make it foggy so you have to like discover it for yourself, and
yeah.
that's what's beautiful about it.
Mm. Like, I remember scouring the website like multiple times and finding things that people couldn't find on the website.
Hmm.
Like, I think they've taken it down now. I've tried finding it recently, but it showed you the heroes that will be coming for the future. Like, so there is
Really?
we yeah. So it was in the descriptions the under like all the heroes. So there was Reiner. We had Alpha, the Alpha Pack,
Hmm.
and then we had with Bravo, we had like, the guy from Blessing the Deliverance,
Hmm.
that guy. For Warrior, I think was actually Viscera, and I forget who Ninja was, but I think Ninja was more leaning towards Benji, in my opinion.
Oh, okay, so they
So
had
like,
released these names beforehand and then just took it down or something.
not not the names, but they released like the so how each class has their own like specific logo
Hmm.
in a way. They kind of had that at the bottom of the page, and then had a description of like, like, kind of like Reiner thinks he's strong, but he's not part of the Alpha Pack or
Hmm.
something along the lines of that. So I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna get like really cool like brutes in the future.
Yeah,
Like 60 health brute, but only has three intellect.
that would
Like
be
that, like
cool.
that'd be pretty cool, man.
Dude,
That'd be
that should
amazing.
fucking happen. I mean, because the thing is, that would make sense. So it makes so much sense. You only
Yeah,
get
yeah.
3 cards, but you basically, you have
You got
a
so
little
much
less
health.
wrinkles on your brain, but you got a lot of brawn. Yeah, I mean, could you see like a 5 intellect wizard? Well, how much
Yeah,
health would he
10
have to
health.
have? Like 10?
Yeah, well, they wouldn't have like a crazy Kano effect though, right?
Yeah.
You couldn't give that to like a 5 intellect hero.
Oh, you
But yeah, I
couldn't.
could definitely see something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's just so much room for the game, and I mean, I don't know. It's just, it's
But
nuts.
at the same time, I really like the way they're pacing things, because they're pacing it very slowly
Yes.
for people to get used to like the normal mechanics and all that. And then down the track, like when we saw Benji with 17 health, when we saw KO with 19 health, you can kind of see where like they're showing like they're treading us through the waters so we can like swim in the big pool when they bring out the big pool.
Oh, totally agree. They're definitely like slow
Yeah,
rolling us piece by piece by piece
yeah,
before, and I mean maybe Monarch will be the time, but I don't know. I feel like they really do still want to like increase the amount of player base
yeah,
currently. But
yeah,
the lore, dude, it sounds like you feel the same thing. It's the thing that's hidden in Flesh and Blood that like
yeah,
people aren't talking about now. But the
yeah.
freaking
No,
company's called Legend Story Studios. Like, come on,
yeah,
like it's a
yeah,
story. But I totally agree with what you said with Ira. I personally think she's dead. I think she would be broken in Classic Constructed. Um,
yeah.
so I definitely think something happened where she died. And another thing that I think that people haven't really keyed in on is Edge of Autumn. The first printing in those Iridex you're talking about had the gold
Mm.
border. So I think Edge of Autumn is a legendary weapon. It's probably the first legendary weapon of the game. But I think that
Ah!
I don't know. They said they did it on
Yeah,
accident. I think maybe it isn't as powerful to be a legendary weapon. I think Kodachis are definitely better. But I think that in the lore, maybe there's some like way that it's a legendary weapon. That's my theory. I don't know.
Yeah,
What do you think of that?
yeah. No. Like, well, they definitely said that it's a legendary weapon, and then it hadn't been used for the longest time because it was just staying in this shrine.
Hmm.
While I guess like Dawnblade's also technically a legendary weapon, and then Viserai's uh, what's Viserai's sword again called? Like
Uh,
that.
Nebula Blade.
That's Yeah, Nebula Blade. But like all these swords and all that are amazing. But then you get like Anathos, which is just a really cool like weapon, and then you got like club and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've like there's a lot of like history behind all these weapons, and yeah, I think you're definitely right where it's like Edge of Autumn is should have been a legendary card.
Yeah. And so, I'm curious too, man. So this is cool. I didn't know that you were so into the lore as well. Like, it's cool to like talking back because I don't really talk to a lot of people about the lore, so it's cool to
Mm.
bounce back stuff with you. But for other games, were you really big into the lore, or?
Um, so like with Yu-Gi-Oh, there's like a lot of like little lore stuffs and all that, and I
Mhm,
really liked that stuff. But apparently, Magic the Gathering, like all their stuff is all about lore and all that within all their artworks.
mhm,
So personally, I like that. But when it comes to like lore and then gameplay at the same time, it's something that I can read about. Like Dota, for instance, I love playing Dota,
oh, that's a fun
and
game.
beneath Dota is like this massive like area of all lore and all that,
Really?
and I personally love that. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah,
There's
yeah,
lore in Dota? Oh,
yeah.
like
No, the,
really?
the
Yeah,
entire
good.
thing is like there's a whole reason why like there's the Radiant and Dire towers and why they're fighting because
Hmm.
they're both like eternal entities. But like at the end of the day, you don't really care because you jump on Dota just like to kill the enemy opponent.
Yeah.
But and so beneath under Flesh and Blood, there's like this massive area, like um one of the tidbits of lore that I really liked was the so with Viserai,
Hmm.
where Viserai was a dead body brought back by Sutcliffe,
Hmm.
and I felt like Viserai's body came from Easterlands, so like from the east, from somewhere that we haven't seen yet,
Gotcha.
because you look at like the artworks of like Command and Conquer, and I think there's another artwork. Oh yeah, Reinforce the Line. We don't know where those heroes really come from. They might come from Volcolor, but they were saying like that Viserai's body
Hmm.
came from a war and like had been working on all these bodies from a war, and I felt like this was like one of the first wars that came on, and I tried like delving into what this first war was, and
Hmm.
I think the first war was where Ira was in. So Ira trying to retake her land and all
Oh,
this. I don't know. There's a lot of like little things that but that's my favorite thing about the lore, where it's like Viserai's body came from another time, and he brought him back to life.
yep. And
There,
that's the best thing about the lore is it
yeah,
always makes you ask questions. It doesn't say
yeah,
his body was from this geological location on the
yeah,
map and this was
yeah,
his mom, dad, brother, sister, and this is his whole family tree and this is all about his life and this is what happened. No, they said body from Eastern land and then it dubs you to ask the question, well, where
yeah.
is that?
Where,
Yeah,
where
exactly.
is that?
And they did it so many times, man. Like remember in the lore book, one of my favorite parts is remember that one part where it talks about the pages for Bravo and it said, "Hey, these are the, lost pages." And it literally has sections that are omitted because it says the
Mm,
page was worn out. And that's perfect because
yeah,
it's like, these guys are adventuring party. They went over here. They met a guy named Bob, and then murmur, 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 and then
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like, this stuff's, and it was just,
Like
yeah, it's perfect to show.
Scarborough's journal.
Yes, that one.
I'm like, so Scarborough is an adventurer, right? But
Uh
it
huh.
also feels like I think he's the narrator in a way for the story, because when the very first Heart of Fyendal was cracked open,
Hmm.
they because it wasn't on the website or anything,
Oh,
they messaged they messaged the guys at Legend Story Studios saying, "Oh, hey, I have this card. It's not on your website. What is it?" And they replied in like a message from Scarborough. Like at the end, it said like from Scarborough. It's
Uh-huh.
like, "Oh, hey, adventurer, you found something that I haven't been able to find in many, many years. You know, it's like
Whoa.
a trinket, a legendary piece that I've never been able to find. And like, good on with your ways." So like, I feel like Scarborough is our narrator, but at
Hmm.
the same time, could be also a hero.
Is that screenshot somewhere that you know of that
I'll
I
have
could?
to find it. I'll have to
Oh,
find it.
dude,
It's
that
under
sounds
like,
awesome.
yeah. Like I knew if I make a post on Facebook, someone will have it instantly.
Mhm.
But yeah. So the whole idea where like Scarborough is still around and he's still a hero that might eventually come out. But that whole entire journal was amazing, especially
Yeah.
that it was like it was lore for the Savage Lands for me.
Yeah. It was
It
like
was
book
like,
within a book. Yeah, and it talked a lot about the
yeah,
Savage Lands.
because like you got to see the Brawn hides. You got to see
Yep.
one of the breakneck battery. There's something like this like toxic creature
Mhm.
that like Reinhar's just like fighting like man to man with, like, just grabbing and all that. But like Scarborough is like adventurers that came along with him, like they
Mhm.
would skim like their skin and they would die instantly from it.
Oh my
So
gosh.
like yeah.
Yeah,
And I have
and
like a Oh, I was gonna say I have a lot of like lore thoughts about like why they're all this so strong and all that. And I felt like because the Heart of Fyendal
mhm.
was placed in um the Savage Lands, and then like because of like how strong the aura is,
Mhm.
everything kind of like grew with like that heart. So then when they said that when Scarborough, like when we messaged him saying that he found it from the Savage Lands, I was like, yeah, no, that has to be like 100% correct. Why?
Oh, he was looking in the Savage Lands. He was.
Yeah, yeah, he was looking for the heart of
Oh, I didn't
Fyendal.
know that.
Yeah,
Well, here's what's interesting, man. Here's my knowledge. So
yeah,
the Heart of Fandale, right? I think is a Fable card from Arya, where that guy is from the Guardian place, right?
yeah,
And that lines up with you. And you know what's crazy, man, is the Eye of Ophidia. I looked up. I used my big brain and I used Google, and Ophidia means snake
yeah.
in Latin or whatever. So I think that Fable is for the Savage Lands, and obviously the Arknight Shard is from Demon Ostry. But that's a good point. Maybe because I know there's like some big ass tree in Aria. Maybe the Heart of
Mm.
Fandel was in that tree or somewhere in Aria, and someone stole it, like you're saying, and took it to the Savage Lands, and then he's trying to find it. And oh yeah,
Yeah,
because yeah, and then
it definitely says that
yeah,
like that Fyendal came from Arya. Like
yeah,
100%. It says she came from there.
hmm
But like personal headcanon, I felt like when she died, she gave up her life for the Savage Lands and created that. That's just, yeah. I haven't looked too much into the Eye of Ophidia because we never got our lore book too, right?
yeah.
We're still waiting on our lore book too. I
Oh, I
think when
can't
we get
wait.
that, yeah, yeah. I can't wait.
Yeah,
Like maybe we'll never get one, but like at the same time, yeah, the Eye of Ophidia, I don't know too much about it.
I like that theory too because I know that in Dorinthia's lore, they said, "Oh, the Savage Lands has gotten more and more restless lately." So that
Mm,
could mean, to your point, if the heart was used to grow everything on the Savage Lands and things got, out of control and you have these mutated beasts, that
mm.
could, tie into where Solana's like, "Hey, stuff's getting pretty cray cray over there." So,
Yeah, yeah.
wow.
Well, the same thing with like Rhinar
Mhm,
isn't the same as the other brutes as well, because Rhinar also says in his lore that he came from like a full family up north.
mhm,
So maybe he like came down there as like a human or whatever, and then turned into a brute because of this.
mm,
And then like I don't know, he could have like been born from there, but it definitely said he came from the north, which the
yeah.
north is Volcor.
Mhm.
But yeah, so and yeah, the whole lore with like Dorinthia, with her going in with her party and all of her friends dying and all that.
Annihilated.
And it's like, wait, was Reinar in this? Because you can see him with like Alpha Rampage, like
Yeah.
ripping some guy's head off.
What's
Yeah,
cool too is on the lore book cover, you will see the heroes looking at each other, and
yeah,
Dorinthia is looking at Reinar,
yeah,
and
yeah,
Bravo is looking
yeah.
at Katsu. So I think there's a
Yeah,
reason for that in the story, where okay, these people meet, and that's lore book volume 2. It seems when we're gonna find out how all these people interact, and I mean, it's gonna be crazy. And I mean, Katsu's lore is cool. I like how he's trying to find some like just
Ninja
legendary items.
Scrolls.
Yeah, let scrolls to heal his village because they have some like disease that nobody can fix, and it's
Mm.
just dude. And what's crazy is we've just talked to 30 minutes straight about just lore, but
Just
this
a lot.
this is no, which is good, dude. I love talking to people with lore.
Yeah,
I'd talk to you the next 2 hours about lore, but
yeah, me too.
this amazing lore is already on top of an amazing game. You know?
Yeah, on top of like an amazing game,
Yeah.
like what other card game like allows you to play during your opponent's turn, but like at the same time like trade like value between cards. Like all my friends who I got to play over the weekend, because I had a
Mhm.
bunch of mates who came over and they were like, "Oh yeah, we'll try it out because now you're free." Like they were like, "You draw at the end of your turn, but you block with cards from your opponent's turn, and then I have to think what cards I want to block with so I can use later." So
Mhm.
like all this lore just being like right below, just like right beneath this level,
Yeah.
and like it's insane. Like it's definitely something that I'm happy that I'm living through and doing.
Oh yeah. And then you could say that, you were on the forefront. And you can actually say that you were on the forefront, you
Nah.
know, Iridex. That's
Yeah,
badass, man.
Iridex. Yeah, yeah. If you ever want to go like a 1v1 Ira versus Ira starter decks, I'm down every day.
I'd be down, man. Maybe after this. I mean, if you're free, I'm down. I've got an Ira deck right here. It was cool. I bought a couple back in the day, and they were pre already sleeved up. And I bought two of them
Yeah,
together. I was like,
okay.
"Oh, this is badass!" Like, it's just nice
Yeah,
because I hate like sleeving all that stuff. But yeah,
yeah.
man,
I
it's
have mine in
just
like the little plastic wrappering,
oh
and
nice.
it comes with like this little like intro book as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've got that little book too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a great way to roll out their game. And I mean what do you think about the pricing too? So you got into the game with Welcome to Raid, and so I'll
Everything
answer
was
the
really cheap,
yeah.
like really cheap.
How
I
much for
remember
hearts?
hearts were. I remember my mate traded one for $200,
Wow.
like cold foil heart, and he pulled one out, and my mate was like, "Hey, I'll buy that off you for $200." He was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll go buy another box
Mm,
because I won't use it probably." But like, so back in the day, like cold foil legendaries were $90.
wow.
And I was complaining about the price of Tunic because Tunic was starting to rise from like what was $150 to about $500. And I was like, I was always the forefront of complaining about like, you know, if these cards get to this price, people aren't going to buy them. And it
Hmm.
doesn't look like they're going to reprint them anytime soon. And which is why I felt like they reprinted in Crucible War because there weren't as many players back then. So they reprinted in Crucible War so that people could have it again before Unlimited came out.
Yep.
Um, and then like the pricing now is okay.
Yeah, I
It's
think it's
it's
like
bearable,
200, right?
right?
Or 150? 200?
Yeah, 200,
Yeah.
150. The only like card you really need is Skull Cap, which is like
Yeah.
$300. But at the same time, you can find the same value like Bravo. Me and my mate stopped running Skull Cap. So I keep saying Skull Horn because
Oh,
of
you're
Brute.
good. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Only brute
Like
cards.
yeah, we stopped running Skull Cap,
Hmm.
and instead started running Helm of Eisen's Peak
I like that card.
because it's really good. So if you go first and and you can set up like an aura or something and put something in your arsenal, and then at the end of your turn you just crack the helmet. So I
Yeah.
know like it's technically blocking for three less, but that three less damage is like three extra more damage if you do it correctly. but
Yep.
you could also block 3 damage just with this one
I totally
card.
agree, and especially if you, go turn 1 and you have Mage Master boots, and you can do, like, Showtime, crack the boots first, then Showtime, and then, the
6
ma
cards?
yeah, so then you have literally 1 in arsenal and 6 cards in your hand. I mean, with that, you can really go to town.
Yeah, so as far as the pricing, at the end of the day, you can always buy rainbow foil stuff.
Yep,
And if you're going into a card game, you're going to expect to at least put, half your wallet down, kind of thing.
yep,
It's only like chasing all the cold foils and all that, and I've traded off cold foils for like pennies basically because I don't really care about the card. I only want the cards that I want to get. So like all the cards that I don't use, I'll usually trade off or give away to friends for free. So and because of
that's
that,
nice.
like we're in a really nice place right now, at least where cards don't really cost a lot. Like all the majestics and all that don't really cost a lot. It's just the equipment that really costs something.
Mhm.
So like we're building blitz decks for like $20 over the weekend.
That's the thing, yeah. I mean, especially if you, like, just say, "Hey, we're not gonna run legendaries, and let's just do, like, common
Yeah,
cards." I mean, you can make really cheap decks, and it's still fun.
yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It's just you don't
Like
get, like, 2 more health, you know?
have you tried running cross wrap instead of your tectonic plating? That's
I
insane.
have. It
It's
is
like
really good because those clutch turns where you need that one extra resource, you can
yeah,
just do an insane amount of damage.
if you can get crippling crush first turn and then block 2 cards and then just crack chest and come with dominate crippling crush from Arsenal like with using cross wrap, it's like really good.
Oh yeah, it's really good. I think the only thing that kind of stuff is not having currently is the helm piece because you have the Goliath
Mm,
gauntlets that are, +2 on attack. If you had some one really good headpiece that did like extra damage or go again, I think it'd be like the common card because you have the what's the scab skin? No, no, not scab skin. The other one that gives your card go again, the one
yeah,
attack
Mage
for boots.
Master.
Oh no,
Oh
it's
wait, Snapdragon Scalers.
that one. Yeah, so you have that and then the chest piece and then the glove. So those are really good commons. But if you just had one good helm, I think you could make some really cool combo decks that just could
Yeah,
just
yeah, that's common too. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, like I remember like Hope's Merchant Hood. We
Mhm.
used to play that in Brute because like you crack it and you like try and search all your 6 attack cards, or like you try and crack it first turn and get your Blood Rush Bellows if you can.
Mm,
Like that's something I even consider these days, where it's like, do I really need like the extra like blocks where
it's
I can
true.
just try and like throw away my entire hand and get Blood Rush Bellows?
Especially if you're thinking about closing the game out in like 2 to 3 turns, which I feel is a really good brute strategy,
Mm,
and especially against I think brute versus Ira, I think there could be a deck in the future that really encapsulates that where because if you're going against Ira and Blitz, I don't know about you, I think you have to win the game as fast as freaking possible. If you
yeah,
put the game towards long term, that extra damage every turn is just going to add up. And if the game
yeah.
goes 10 turns, she just did 10 extra damage for attacking.
Well, the issue that like everyone's having against Ira is that we are all trying to play tempo against a tempo master, right?
Yeah.
Like we're trying to like block 2 cards and then like you know like then use 2 cards during our turn. Where like so recently I've changed up my deck profile again recently, even though like Monarch's right around the corner.
Mhm.
Um, so I've been trying to deal like 10 damage and then try and set up a full Intim 4. So all like I
Oh,
think do you know Primeval Bellow, the really bad one? The one
yes.
that's the one that goes on a brute attack action only?
Yeah, that one sounds familiar. Yeah, it gives like
Yeah, and it
plus 3 or
costs
something.
one as well.
Yeah, I know that one. Yep.
Yeah, it costs one. It only goes on a brute attack action, not like barraging beatdown where it costs 0 and goes on any attack.
Yeah, so you can use
Um,
your weapon, which is so nice with those cards.
Yeah, so what I've been trying to do against Ira recently is I've been trying to get them down to like 10 health, 13 health, and then set up a turn where I take a bunch of damage and
Mhm.
then in Tim 4 swing them for like 12 or like 13 and try and deal as much damage that way.
That's smart.
While like with versing like heroes like Dorinthia, Of course, they have 30 health, same as Guardian. You kind of need to play that long haul where
Yeah.
it's like you need to try and int him as much as you can. But because of that, we're probably running less armor as well on top of that.
There's so much
So
stuff that goes into it, man. That's what's so cool about the gameplay, and every hero plays differently, and when
yeah,
you're versing different heroes, you have to do different things. And I mean, one thing I learned really quick against Reinar, I should go first because
yeah,
going second does not help you with tempo at all. Because Ryan was like,
no, not
"Oh,
at all.
you want tempo? Well, I'm gonna make you put 3 cards in your hand the first turn down on the floor. You only get to
yeah,
block one this turn. I've got the and you basically. I think that's why Reinar is really it's strong in my opinion. He's overlooked in that standpoint of the go first, go second thing because a lot of Dorinthias and other tempo type decks want to go second in
like to
my
go
mind.
second.
Exactly. But
Mm,
Reinar is good because it's like you when you go first, you basically go second anyway because if
yeah,
they don't have cards to block in their hand, then you essentially have gone first in a way. It's in some way.
yeah,
That's
no, 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 100% that.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's 100% correct. Where it's like you go first against it, like if you're versing your brute and you go second, you're like, okay, well, I guess I'm down to 15 health.
Exactly.
Like I guess I'm playing as Kano now.
Yeah. And it must be
um,
cool against Kano because you like you have to put cards out of your hand and then
w-
yeah.
like versus Kano, you put one barraging beat down, and they have to decide if they want to go off that turn or like take a bunch of damage.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, like I feel like as much as like it's easy to say, I feel like people still aren't exploring every aspect of every class.
yep.
Um, like I know it's so easy to say that because it's like, oh, stop complaining about Ira, try other cards that no one else has before. That's what I always try and do. Like, uh, yeah, I'm trying to play against Ira differently now. I'm not trying to like go tempo with them and just rely on Blood Rush Bellows and Claws. I'm
Hmm.
trying to rely on using Blood Rush Bellows to get them low and then in Tim 4 so that they can't so they die from that point on because they don't run a lot of armor. They just
No.
run attack. That's it.
Yeah,
So from that,
so you're
oh yeah, so
changing up your strategy, right?
I'm trying to, but at the same time, it is hard because at
Yeah.
the end of the day, it is a tempo game. Like, I block cards, you block cards, and Kadachi, flying kick, come in for 10, or like Kadachi, uh, CNC for 7, or like Kadachi.
CNC for 7.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like, yeah,
That
okay,
is
I guess I.
too good. I think Command and Conquer is just a little good, and when I think it's a little too good normally, but for 7 on Ira, you have to have armor for that. If you don't, then you're
Yeah,
boned.
and usually you want to use your armor late game and not early game.
Yep.
So it's like, oh, I guess, it is what it is.
Yeah. And I totally agree with you, man, that there's a lot of cards that haven't really been like teched as much because,
Mm.
people are, looking at net decks, which is fine. And dude, I do the same thing.
Yeah,
I look
yeah.
at, hey, who won out there? Because I'm not the best deck creation person. I've never been. But
Mm.
what's funny is I think that there's a lot of people who have won tournaments in the past, especially because this game is new. And if you ask them, hey, why'd you put those cards in your deck? They'd be like, oh dude, I didn't have the money to pay for these. I opened these in my
Mm.
boxes. Or they're like, oh, I was new to the game and Crucible War hadn't come out at the time. But other people right now in 2021 are net decking these decks from like 2020 that aren't really optimal. And it's just funny and
Yeah.
to because people are just so focused on that, I don't think they're exploring as much of deck building. And I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, when Monarch comes out, it's gonna have what 400 new cards,
I
dude.
know.
It's like there's so much variation now. I can't imagine how good the cards we have now will be good with the future sets. I mean, this
Mm.
game's only been out for a year and a half. It's
Yeah,
insane.
it is insane. Like, because I just think I'm like, because my brother who lives one door over, all he does is play OTK Vis. I'm
Nice.
like, oh, so what cards are you hoping for? And he's just like, oh, just cards that create more rune chance, right? Yeah. So like, yeah. So when Art of War and CNC was introduced,
Mhm,
that completely changed the game. And I feel like yes, we'll get a lot of generic cards that can help with some decks,
mhm,
but I really feel like it's the two Majestics that come in every set that changes the full pace of the game.
mm,
So let's say we've got Tome, and then we got Art of War. We'll probably get something else that draws cards or does something along the lines of that. That other decks will be able to make a full like idea around. Like you got Art of War Brute where they run claws, and then you've got Tome of Fyendal Brute where they run club.
mhm.
There'll be like a different version because of this one Majestic,
Yeah.
and then
No,
and then
agreed.
on and then on top of that, we'll probably get another attack action or like maybe another action that will like completely change. Oh, do I now run CNC or do I take out CNC or do I take out Enlightened Strike for this new card? So it's going to make this new like genre of like heroes just because of these two new Majestics.
Oh yeah, and can you imagine? Like I know, it's still up in the air now what the new heroes are going to be, the four new ones. But can you imagine if they put four new different like classes out in the game? How nuts that will be! I mean, that'll just skyrocket this thing even more out. And I think that there's a lot of people now who have just gave this game like it's just it is what it is. It's like it's
Mm.
just a flash in the pan. It's not going to last. But once
Yeah,
you
yeah.
actually play the frickin' game and I had been a skeptic before, I had actually played it, and then when I played it, I was like, "This is great." I mean, it's just the
Yeah.
gameplay is just so refreshing. You feel like you are that character in the, fight. And I don't know if you've seen it. You probably have. Like back in the day, they had these banners, right, for Flesh and Blood, and it said 100% great games. When I first saw that, I thought, this is kind of weird.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, what does that
gimmicky.
even mean? But then when you
Yeah.
play the game, you're like, ah, that's what it means. Like, you don't get a game where you're totally screwed from the turn one. You always have a chance, and there's always, a way you can get
Mm.
out. If you don't like your hand, just block. Done.
Yeah,
New
just
hand.
block. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, man.
Yeah, it is pretty insane, this game. Like I play a bunch of card games. I play a bunch of online card games too. But it's like Flesh and Blood is like completely new. But it
Mm,
doesn't even matter that it's new or that like it has these like mechanics that other card games don't have. It's that plus everything else. Like
yep.
the Legend Story Studios care about everyone. They care about their content creators. um, they actively communicate with us.
Yep.
Like they let us know, oh look guys, things is coming late, or we thought like other card games just feel like these massive giants, while the guys from Flesh and Blood, you could probably like message on like Twitter and they'll reply to you because
Oh
they're
yeah, they're
that
big on
cool.
the Twitter. They respond to a lot of things, and not
Yeah.
only that, man. Like I know there's a couple times where I think it was the Malaysian nationals where they couldn't attend because of everything going on in the
Mm.
world. They sent everyone competing a little card, a handwritten card, and it was like, hey, like thanks for competing, and it had something to where it was like what you were saying, where it was about the lore. It said, "Hey, you're adventuring in," and all this stuff. Sincerely, LSS team, and just that little touch, of just being nice. And I heard too when they were trying to get their game into stores and local game stores in the U.S. and everywhere else, they sent them a nice little packet, and it had the two Iris starter decks, and it said in the packet, literally, it says like, "We love local game stores; they're the heart of the community. We
Yeah.
want them to thrive." And they had a handwritten note, and that it's just it shows the point. And you're right. It's all of it. It's not just the gameplay. It's the lore that we've been talking about. It's the people who run it. It's just it really is the perfect game. I mean,
Mm. Did you see
ah,
the there was I think there was a guy who was trying to teach his daughter math,
mhm.
and he taught his daughter through Flesh and Blood about how to do math.
I haven't
And
seen this.
oh yeah, it was a post I think like 3 weeks ago, and like on the the Flesh and Blood fan page, and like he messaged like James White telling him that because of the game, you helped my daughter learn like these certain math and these certain equations,
Hmm.
and he sent him back like a framed. I'm not sure what it was framed, but it
Uh
was a
huh.
framed card with like saying from James White saying, like thank you so much, we're happy that we can help you with these development skills and all that.
Oh, wow.
Like, and it's like these little things, which is massive to us,
That warms
where
your
it's like,
heart, man.
yeah, it's like, it's just this guy over from New Zealand. Like, really happy that he's like, have you watched all of the interviews with
Yeah.
James White and like all of the events he goes to? Like, I've watched them all and I've recorded a few too. Like, he always goes like, "Thank you, thank you, thank you," and it's like, no, we're happy you're making the game, but he's like, you can tell like how ecstatic he is that like, you know, people are playing the vision that he's always wanted to have.
Oh, yeah. And,
And it's like,
we wanna say thank you to him, but no, I know what you mean. Because I mean, when he was first starting this, I mean, to think about how you're gonna make a trading card game in 2020 or 2019 and compete with the big dogs and sell globally and become a huge success, I
yeah,
don't know how much of, like, confidence he must have had confidence, of course, but I can't imagine how much of a thought, like, "Oh, c are people gonna like this, or what are people gonna
yeah.
think?" Like, that's a big thing, but, he went through it,
Like
but yeah.
it really stands true because like there's like a saying where it's you can't make a card game without having an anime behind it, or you can't make a card game without having
Ex
a
That's
full
another
TV
point.
series behind it.
Yeah.
While like you got Magic the Gathering, which is all these dudes by themselves, and I guess they bought like D&D along the way, and they're the first guys to make it, like to make proper card games. But
Mhm.
then you've got Flesh and Blood now, which is just made out of pure love for card
Yeah.
games, and
Oh, it's
like
just
it
beautiful.
and what is it now? I think I think we're in the top 10 of most played card games now.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
I'm pretty sure we are, or
I'm loo
at least we're getting there at least.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we're gonna be there in, like, the next year or 2, and if not top 5, man,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's going to the moon. I can't imagine what Monarch is, but I think one of my favorite James White speech, if I had a rank, and I want to hear yours, but it's on the LSS website where he's talking. I think it was the Auckland tournament. I forget which one, but he's told a story. He said, "Hey, the when I was a kid, when I was like 13 years old, I got in a car late at night and I drove out to a local game store and I competed in a tournament, and that was one of my best moments of my life up to that point." And he said he made like 4 great friends, long-term friends, and 3 of them were
yeah,
in that same room. And then he basically ended on like, "Hey, this is for building friendships, and we're here for the community. We want to make a card game that everyone loves." And it's just the amount of passion and the personality. Maybe it's that. It's the personality to it. It's the personal touch. Because where these big corporations, when they make a trading card game, they don't try to get personal with you. They're like,
yeah,
"Hey, here's a product. Here you go." That's it. That's where we end. But with this, it's more of a homey vibe where people are really treated like people. It just feels good.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
We're not ATMs. Like
exactly.
I've played many a card game. And I still play many a card game where I'm just an ATM, while Flesh and Blood is where they're giving us things that we want to play and
Yeah,
that we love.
there are
Like,
ATMs. No, just kidding.
yeah, that's all right. James White has like 3 boats by now, probably.
Oh, yeah. Well, what's crazy is I don't think they get a lot of that money, right? Because 'Cause they're selling booster boxes where, these card shops get 50%, margins. So I don't think they're making money, of course, especially on
Yeah, yeah,
Unlimited,
yeah,
but they're not making hand over fist what they could be making if they had,
yeah.
kept some boxes and then did some things on the side.
Um, um, I, I work in a warehouse. I don't know economics too much. I don't know how much they'd be making, but like the fact that these guys made this their job, and like where they're not treating us like ATMs, where like what they could have
Yeah.
put one legendary in every single 12 boxes. They could have done that. They could have done like Majestics were like really hard to come by.
Mm.
They could have done that, but they didn't. They gave us like to a point where it's like we still need to buy boxes and all that, and we can still trade these cards around and all that, but they weren't too greedy about it.
Yeah. No, totally agree. I mean, so far, it's just everything they've done, it seems very they're just a master stroke. And I mean,
Mm.
I can't wait for the I mean, it's only been a year and a half. I've only been doing content creating for 6 months, and the amount of stuff I've seen in a 6 month period just blows my mind. I can't imagine what's going to be. You imagine like 3 to 5 years from now, all the
No,
shit that's going to go down. Like
yeah.
it's unfathomable. And I mean,
You,
uh,
you know what's gonna be absolutely crazy?
yeah,
So
what?
like how like with the legends where like once a hero gets 10 wins, that card's banned from like competitive tournament.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the first hero that gets banned and everyone's reaction? We're
Oh
gonna be
yeah.
like, no, but at the same time, like, and the thing is, the players who played them goes down in history. Like,
Yeah.
like, like I still want so like my lifelong plan with this card game
Uh-huh.
is to put my name on the legend of Rhinar.
Dude, I
Like
hope I'm
I
hope
want to
rooting
win an
for you.
event. Yeah, yeah. Like it doesn't matter if it's 10 years from now. I just want my name there.
Yeah. Cuz if you think about it, if you do become one of those living legends, you were one of 10 people. That's it. No other
That's
people
it.
will ever
Yeah.
win a big tournament with that. And is it the calling you have to win?
I think it's callings, but like because of this year, we've got like skirmishes and regionals instead,
Mhm.
where we should have had like. I'm pretty sure they were even talking about worlds before the whole, what happened around the world, where we were going to have like world tournaments,
Yep.
but we haven't been able to recently. So like when all that's over, then we'll go back to like callings.
Yeah, that'll be cool. Yeah, you're right. No, I think I read that they were going to do one at the end of 2020 even, but
Yeah,
things just got pushed off, and I guess they had to
yeah.
wait until 2021. But yeah, bro, like that, I'm rooting for you. I mean, I'm not very good at the game, but hopefully, if I could do it with Bravo, man, oh man, it'd be so
Yeah,
cool. Because
yeah.
you're right. I mean, you become a living legend on the site. They have a little bio of you, and yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah, that's my long life plan. That's why I stick to what. That's why I stick to Reiner. That's why I stick to only him.
Well, it's smart. Yeah, no, because then you get you get more experience with the hero, and when you
Mm,
transfer like from one hero to the next, like I tried Dash and Blitz, and it was just a very different experience from Bravo, and there's just a lot more stuff I had to learn. I was like, you know what, I want to just stick to Bravo for now, but it's a fun class to play. Maybe I'll
mm.
just turn that into a classic constructed deck. Now I'm thinking about it, but anyway, but yeah, man, that it's gonna be crazy when that happens, and what's gonna be ridiculous is those cards probably won't be printed in the future. So when they had the Drone of Brutality ban, they
Mm,
said that it's not gonna be printed in Welcome to Wrath Unlimited going forward. But
yeah.
like if Dorinthia becomes on that list, then they're not gonna print her stuff in Welcome to Wrath Unlimited, probably, right? They're just because why
Well,
would you
like
want to print stuff that nobody can use?
they'll probably like end up bringing out like the master sets
Hmm.
where it's like, of course, like I feel like all these cards are going to get reprinted eventually.
Yeah.
But they'll come out in like master sets where it'll be like the first like 5 sets from this. There'll be specific cards that they reprint. So like they're definitely going to reprint the majestic like equipment, but they'll probably do it in these sets.
That's a good point. You think there's gonna be something that's not unlimited, that's like some other type of thing that's like a bigger set
Yeah,
that encompasses more? That's a good point.
yeah, yeah. So like they'll probably bring out like sets where like your like your boxes like $40 for a box and it comes with like 3 packs or something along the lines of that, and they can have like 20 cards in them. They'll
Mm.
have like 2 equipments or something along the lines of that. Like most other card games do stuff like that, so I don't see why these guys wouldn't do it.
Yeah, true. I mean, there's only so many ti so long you can print like 2020 Welcome to Wrath Unlimited. Like, it's gotta dry up sometime, and you have to change the date on the bottom. But yeah, man. I mean, so now, right? You've got a bunch of guys that you're getting into the game, and I mean, dude, this is the perfect time to get people in the game in Monarch. But
Yeah.
what's your plans for what is it 2021? Like with content creating, and let's go into that aspect. Like,
So me and my mates have recorded, I think it's 3 videos,
mhm.
and so the only downside with recording with my mates, they spend a lot of time editing it. So we recorded a video where it's both my mates,
Uh-huh.
very first time playing, and I'm kind of like trying to teach them,
Oh,
but
that's cool.
we're all very hammered at the same time, like we just came from the pub. I was like, "Oh guys, let's go record a video." They're like, "Yeah, sure." So um, But of course, so going forward,
Mhm.
I'll be doing a lot of deck profiles, but I won't be doing like my big videos. I'll only be making like one of those per set, like per uh yeah yeah per set,
Yeah,
like
per set
per
release.
box that comes
Yeah.
out. Yeah, where I'll do like one big Rhinar video, and it'll probably be like bigger every single time, each time from now on too.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
like like I've made a bunch of costumes and all that, but it's kind of like I'm not sure how wear and tear they are. Like I've made a bunch of like shoulder pads and all that, but I'm not sure what will happen to them if I go out in public and try and roll around with them.
Do you have the,
So
legendary like, do you have scab skin leathers and, like, do
I
you
have I haven't made that yet, but I think I'm gonna get to like scab skin leathers.
that'd be cool,
Um,
man. Cause then you could be like, "Yo, these are my scab skin leathers, and these are my, like, oh, the one thing on the top is like an antler.
the
It was
skull
like a
horn,
skull, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And when I was with my missus, we are talking about making it a a tunic of Fyandal, but we're
Oh, that'd be
like, man, we
cool.
just can't we can't find this kind of like because it's like green, but it's a fleece green, and then you need the gold through it, and like making the gold would be crazy. So maybe if I get enough time and I do that for that one video, I might try and make a tunic. But yeah, so going forward, I'll be making a lot of little deck profiles for like all new players and all that.
Mhm.
Um, I mainly am going to focus on Blitz content only, and then every now and then do a lot of constructed, because
Yeah.
personally, I find the most fun out of Blitz. Constructed is very good, but I don't think it's good for new players.
Yeah,
Um,
agreed. The games just go
and
way too long, it seems, and like Blitz is just a nice simplistic version. And do you think, going back a little bit from the beginning of the game, do you think it was more classic constructed focus, and now they've
yeah,
realized, okay, wait, this is kind of too big brain for a lot of people. Let's do like a simplistic version so more people can like get their feet wet and then graduate like eventually. But honestly, dude, I love Blitz. I like the
yeah.
fast, easy games. You can pump out a bunch instead of a classic. But so you're
To be
you're
honest,
doing a lot of blitz stuff?
yeah, oh yeah. Well, I think the whole idea of like bringing up Blitz and then constructed them Blitz
Mhm.
was like James White just doing the good old switch and bait on us, where it's like, oh, here's the IR starter deck with 20 health, but here's also 40 health heroes, and then we're
Uh-huh.
gonna go back to Blitz, and then maybe eventually we're going back to constructed. So
You don't know what we're doing.
yeah,
20,
yeah.
40, 15,
But
17.
yeah, and it always feels fresh because of that too.
Yeah.
It's not like you're always playing with 20 health heroes. Like after a while with me and my mates the other night, we're like, okay, we're done with 20 health heroes. I'll show you 40 health heroes, and they're like, their whole brain exploded. They're like, whoa, there's like so much more we can do now.
Yeah. What do I
But
do
yeah,
with
so
this?
yeah, going forward, like it really depends. Of course, like if there is no like a big skirmish, or like all the big events are just constructed that I'm going to stick to Blitz.
Mhm.
I'm going to try and just kind of stick with the curve, but mainly focus on Blitz. Like from what it looks like, all the new hero decks that we're getting are all going to be Blitz.
Yeah.
To me, that says that they want Blitz to be the entry level stuff, and then constructed to be maybe maybe like the competitive scene. But in my opinion, Blitz is so much more competitive than constructed,
Yep.
because constructed can just turn down to whoever gets the most value on their early turns, and then they can't really do anything late game unless they take a bunch of damage and try and deal that damage back.
I mean, I think personally they're going to put constructed in worlds and keep blitz on the regional scene. But do you think that they'd actually go back and say, "Well, wait, blitz is kind of legit and this is working out for us and this is what people want because they don't like in my mind it's just shorter games, so maybe people feel like,
Yeah,
"Oh, these are, fast and fun versus the classic." Do you think they're going to change it or do you think
I
constructed
hope
is going to be just for worlds and stuff?
I hope that Blitz is just the competitive scene.
Yeah.
That's what I hope. But I feel like yeah, skirmishes will be for the regionals and all that, and then we'll have the big events where it is with constructed. But we haven't had a constructed event yet.
Yeah, cause
There
how
hasn't
how
been
long would that
one.
be? Cause I've played in the skirmish events, man, and it's been 7 hours long. Like, can you
Yeah.
imagine what classic constructed would be? It'd be like, "Oh, that's your 14-hour
Well,
day."
it's kind of a little bit easier, like in constructed, because you can just go, yeah, I'll take the damage. It
That's
doesn't
true.
matter. I'll just take the damage. I'll block with this card. I'll block with one card from hand. While like Blitz is like you have to like analyze every single little like card. Like what card am I going to Arsenal for next turn?
Yep.
So I think it's a little bit easier. Um, but yeah, as far as like the length, it might be 10 minutes longer each match, in my opinion.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's a good point.
as hopefully the competitive scene is just Blitz, so that all the new players come to the game and they see Blitz, and that's the game that they're going to be playing throughout the whole thing if they want. But then you've got like, and then constructed can just be for like the big ballers who want to like play, slog each other back and forth kind of decks.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And I like your vision for what you're talking about with your mates. Like I remember on Twitter you said that you wanted to have something where it was you take someone fresh, very new to the game, and you show like a multiple videos of them progressively. I think it was progressive where they
Yeah,
get better each time. And that would be
the
really
progression
great.
series.
Yeah, progression series, and that's perfect for new players because at first when I got into the game, it was a little bit it was a little weird to see just people just amazing at the game, and they're like, oh well, I wish I
Mm,
could be there. But if you see a series of someone like Timmy or Johnny or Matt, and you're like, oh okay, this guy is brand new to the game, and the first video, the second video, they're getting a little better and a little
mm.
better. I mean that
So
sounds really cool.
So instead of doing that, because I realized that my schedule is very crazy, so I was going to do like a progression series where like I open boxes and then we use those cards, which anyone's free to like use that idea. It's not my idea.
Hmm.
And then use those cards from those packs. Instead of that, I'm going to like this is something that I am doing like currently as well. Um, so I'm going to go to locals with like I'm going to start off with the new player experience for Dorinthia
Hmm.
where I'm going to bring in. I'm not sure what week we'll be on. It might be a blitz week or a constructed week, but I'll come in with just like commons and rares and see how far I get with commons and rares against all these big decks, and then from then on, like maybe put like 2 or 3 supers in, which is kind of like you know what people will be going towards,
Mm,
like showing them the path they could go down with each hero. So I'm going to start with warrior because personally I feel like warrior is the easiest to teach
yep.
and the place to teach someone to, because it teaches someone about the blocking, defense reaction, and then attack reaction on top, and then that whole layer kind of thing. um, so from there, once I get to a point where I feel like it's like at a good point where I'm winning enough, and it probably will be without legendaries for a while too. Maybe the last video of each thing will be with the legendaries.
Hmm.
Um, and then from there, I'll go on to another hero, and that might even just be one of the new heroes that's coming out.
That sounds really cool, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that that's one of my plans that I'm going to do.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think that's so important for new players because when people are getting into the game, it's yeah, they need resources like that. Like I made a tabletop simulator like guide because I don't think people really know how to do that. Maybe like for me, it was hard to set up
Mm.
at first because I didn't know that you needed like the
I think I
the
even watched that to learn.
oh really
Like
yeah.
I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because like I realized one of the most watched videos I have on my channel is this like extremely low definition version of me trying to show the difference between a rainbow foil card and a cold foil card. And obviously,
Mm.
like me and I think it has like 2,000 views, and it's just a 40-second video because a lot of people who are getting in the game don't know what it looks like. But for you and
Yeah.
me, that's like, oh, of course
Yeah.
I know
It's
what the
just
difference is. It's
yeah.
cold versus rainbow, but because I remember when I was getting in the game at first, I didn't know what it looked like. So those
Yeah.
informative videos and the videos that show like, oh, this is how you play the game are really cool. And I like how you're doing budget stuff because I mean, in my mind, the first time that somebody wins a big tournament with a budget deck is gonna just it's gonna be a mic drop moment, and then people are gonna be like,
Mm.
whoa, wait a minute, these common cards are good. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know if you've ever versed it, but have you ever versed common and rare warrior
no,
with no majestics, no supers?
no,
The deck's insane because all it
really,
does is just like that's where skill comes into. If you can beat someone who plays common and rare warrior, you're a good player, in my opinion. Because all it is buffing things by 3
hmm,
and then being able to play around defense reactions and playing around just that on its own.
mm.
So like, um, the way you win is by being like outsmarting your opponent compared to like Steelblade Supremacy or Spoils of War and just get free value off those cards.
Like
So yeah,
it's
that like yeah,
Yeah,
go on.
I could see that that type of deck is more consistent too, because Steel
Yeah.
Braid's Supremacy and Iron Song Determination, I think they only give +1 attack. So it's like you do get value because if you get to draw with the Steel Blade, it's that pays for itself.
Mm.
But if you shut that thing down, then it's not good. But to your point, if you just have commons and rares and Dorinthia, that's cool. It's like a really powerful deck, you think, because it's just like, hey, +3, and then you do attack reacts, and it's
Like
just beat down.
it's not too powerful.
Yeah.
It's not like mechanologist level powerful, but it's consistent damage. And
Mm,
if you can like learn how to play around consistent damage, then you're a good player, in
that's
my
cool, man.
opinion.
No, I totally agree, especially with attack reacts. I hate attack reacts. Dude, in my Bravo deck, I put what is it? The yellow
Pummel.
I put pummel, of course, but I put defense reacts that are 0 cost because I hate playing around
Yeah,
attack reacts. Like I'm like, ah, geez, I don't wanna because once she gets her one like what is it?
yeah, it's game.
It's
You
game.
can't do anything.
You really can't. You were just shut down.
Mm,
But yeah, man. Is there anything you want to know about me too? I mean, dude, this is really cool to learn about you because when I first started content creating, like I watched a bunch of different content creators, and you were
mm,
one of them. And when I first started, I started a Twitter account, and then I like commented, and I saw you commented on my thing. You were like the first content creator to like reach, do something on my thing and comment on it. And I was like, oh, cool,
mm.
Yazi. He's a cool guy. Like, and it's just cool talking to you now because that was like 6 months ago, and it's just
Yeah, you blew right the hell up too. Like
well,
like wait, how many 400 subscribers
well, I'm
now?
like at 380, but dude, for the
Yeah, no,
first two
yeah, yeah,
months, I had nothing.
nothing.
I had
Yeah.
like 20 to 30 subscribers, but it was all good, man. I'm having fun, honestly. I'm like a content
Mm,
interactor. I like to just talk about Flesh and Blood because there's almost only so much talking that I can do with the people in my life about Flesh and Blood. I need a way to
yeah.
do that over uh you know uh
Have
the
an
internet.
outlet
Yeah,
with
have an
someone.
outlet
Yeah, yeah.
so I can talk for 2 hours just like this. But yeah, man, like where was I going at
Well,
that?
probably yeah. No, no, you're asking if I had any questions for you,
Yes.
and I think one of the big questions is like, is there any like big projects you're going to look towards to doing? Because I know you do a lot of little stuff,
Mhm.
but all that little stuff like is a lot, right?
Mhm.
Like all this little stuff like amounts to your content. And I think my big question is there something that you're going to aim towards to get to doing?
That's a good point. Or that's a really good question. So, from the start of my channel, there's a lot of people out there who do like just singular stuff. And I really admired that because they know what they're doing, they instantly do it, and they have a vision like Session Blood. Really love those guys. They just, they have the podcasting, that's it. And I think it looks really clean. But for me, I just going forward, I just want to constantly experiment with a bunch of different things. And I just never
Mm.
want to be focused into like, okay, this is the only content I produce because this is a series that let me talk about. So with my drinking with Bronson series, I never thought I'd make this type of thing. I first
Yeah.
started because I was making like 5 minute videos. I was like, I don't think anyone's gonna listen to me more than 5 minutes. Like if they're listening to me more than 5 minutes, I'd be like really surprised. But then I had a couple people say, "Hey, I have a commute. Can you make longer videos?" And then I started making this. And the reason why I went into this is because I want to grow the community, but then I realized I was like, wait a minute, I really don't know anybody in the community, like personally.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, hey, why don't I just talk to people? And at first, it felt so idiotic, dude. I can't tell you how like dumb it felt to like, oh, let me just you want to just talk. But then after I started doing it, oh, it was just so nice. But to answer your question, like a politician, I'm like, doing all this stuff. It's like very great question, Yossi. Let me talk about something else. But one thing I've wanted to do is gameplay, and I've recorded a ton of videos of gameplay. And my only issue with like the thing I think gameplay could do better is be like faster or something you add some spice to it. And I definitely think that that's going to come along. But But until then, one of the big projects I just thought of recently is I want to take all the gameplay video I've made so far and make it into a 12-hour video and then like bump it up to like 1.5 times speed, and then it's gonna be like of all like different like content creators and all these different people that I played. It's just gonna be a back to back to back to back to back. It's just gonna be 12 hours. And I know this sounds crazy. I just thought it'd be cool to like put it all in there. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. But that's a project that I have up my sleeve. I
That's a lot of
definitely,
rendering time.
dude, yeah.
It's a lot of rendering
I do
time.
not know how long that video. I'll ping you when I know the amount of video. I think it's gonna take like 12 hours. It's probably gonna take the full 12 hours to like make that video. It's probably gonna be like 30 gigabytes, and I don't know how long to put it on YouTube. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that pans out.
Mm,
But other than that, man, I really can't wait for the lore book. That's gonna be really cool, and just yeah, I'm gonna really love to go into different theories and thoughts on that because like we were talking earlier, you know, there's so many things that we've pieced together so far or have tried to piece together. But if we have another book, man, it's just
yeah,
gonna it's gonna be a whole nother game plan, man. Because it's gonna like answer some questions that we've had in the past, but it's probably gonna open up a bunch of
yeah.
different questions in the future. And
The
yeah,
worst thing is if they bring out the book and it doesn't answer any of our questions, but gives us so many more questions, and we're like, damn
yeah,
it!
that's gonna be the worst. Like, what the fuck?
It's like, oh, it's like screw you, I want
I want to know stuff.
to.
Yeah, who is Fandel, and what is this heart? And yeah, no, I feel you, dude. And it's probably gonna be some of that because, I mean, it just doesn't seem like anything's being answered with the stuff that they put on the backstory of Kano and all this stuff of the heroes.
Mm,
That didn't really answer our questions, but I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, no. Honestly, I'm just enjoying making content. It's really talking. I definitely want to do these more like talking to the community type stuff because it's a
yeah,
lot of fun.
it.
I don't like
I
to interview. I like to just talk to people.
I think it's awesome, and the main thing is that like it gives a lot of content creators a lot of confidence in themselves. Like, there's a lot of times where I don't have any confidence in myself to make a video, so I just won't do it. And the
Yeah.
fact that you're like reaching out to other people and like people that are bigger than you, people that are smaller than you, and like whenever I think of like that guy who talks to people and like brings people up, I always think of you.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean,
So
you kind of inspired me in the beginning. No, I'm dead serious. Like when I was like had like 3 subscribers, and
uh,
and then you reached out to me and you were like that felt good. And I had other people in the community do that, and I was like, oh, like I should do that too. And then it's just all about growing people, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. I appreciate you saying that, man. Like I just like
I mean it too. Like
yeah.
I don't know anyone else who like reaches out that much. Like I remember like you were like straight on Twitter and you were like, yeah, let's tweet everything. And like you like personally I like using Twitter. I know that's very wrong to
Divisive
say,
thing to
but
say. I think
but
it's an
like
alright platform. It's growing on me. At first, I didn't like it, but
yeah,
yeah.
and I really like messaging the artists who like did all the artworks and all that. But yeah, you're like that one guy. Like you've spoken to everyone at this point, right? Like who haven't you spoken
I don't know. I've spoken to a lot
to?
of people. And what's
Yeah.
great too is I love my favorite type. What is it? Is obviously people like you who what is it? I knew from the beginning before I started
Mm,
content creating, but others too is like people who are just starting, who they made like 1 or 2 videos. Those are cool. Like because then they're just like so happy and they're like it's like to your point, it's just giving them confidence. Because yeah, when you first starting out, you're like I don't know if this is a full time thing. I don't know if I should do this full term. But when you get that, positive reinforcement and start making it, and
mm.
dude, some people are making videos, and I look at them and like, oh my gosh, like there's no way
Fab
I could make
cracks.
this. Yeah, Fab Cracks, you've seen his stuff? It's
Yeah, man.
ridiculous.
Like so I do like a lot of little edits where like I like mocap and I like go along the screen and like do everything so it matches.
Uh
And I
huh.
watch his and his is like all 3D. I'm like, damn
Yeah.
it! and like DM Amada with his like how to play Flesh and Blood. And I
Yeah.
was like, bro, there's no way that I can make anything at the level of this.
Oh,
I'm
same.
like, I could
Yeah.
probably try, but it's like probably like 5 hours worth of trying to like make that.
Dude, I'm not that
But
person. I'm never gonna. And when I saw Fab Crack and the artwork was coming alive, I'm like, what the? This is like a movie here. And Dead Summer is doing his lore stuff, and it's just so. It's like a movie. And what's crazy is it's like
yeah,
it's good rewatching those videos. Like
yeah,
when I watch those videos, I'm like, I just want to watch it again. And
yeah.
yeah, it's just, oh, so
Yeah, the
nice.
only thing that I think all of us need to band together to start doing is content for new players.
Yeah,
Because right now it feels like we're making content for me and you.
that's a good
Like
point.
it's like we're making the content that we already know. Like of course not everyone does it, but like for me it's always hard to get into a podcast when it's like 50 episodes in already.
Yeah,
So it's like I don't want to start from like chapter 1, I want to start on chapter 50. So
dude, that's a
like
really good point. Like Ravewind,
if
have you seen his stuff?
no, I haven't. I'll have a look
Oh, he's
afterwards.
perfect. He has budget deck builds for all the classes, and he has
Oh
like,
wait, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Kurt.
The two fellas, right?
Oh no, I
Is it
think it's
two
just one guy.
fellas?
His name is Kurt.
Okay.
He messages a lot on Twitter too. He has that it's like a druid looking guy. But yeah, dude, he is like the perfect example of that. Like he what is it? He has all of his videos for new players and all of these budget deck builds. But no, I totally feel you. And that kind of makes me self-reflect. Maybe I have to do something from Monarch, like something towards like new players cuz sometimes I just say stuff and I say, "Oh, like you don't know this, like the cold foil and rainbow
Mm.
foil thing." But with people getting into the game, it's really hard to understand. That's a good point.
Like I feel like it's just a natural development. Like I know eventually, like a bunch of us will just be like, yeah, okay, new player experience and all that. But I'm gonna try and do it as quick as I can, as early as I can, so people can do it, and then like as often as I can. And I'll
Yeah.
probably try and do it with each hero too, because no one, like, not a lot of people like the same hero.
Mm. Oh
Like,
yeah.
like, so hopefully, there's a lot more. Like the content will be, at least for Monarch, the content will be mainly based on just the new player experience.
Mm. Yeah, no, well, with
Hopefully,
the blitz decks and everything, and there's gonna be some
yeah.
new. Yeah, no, I totally agree, and yeah, man, I appreciate you doing this with me. I've wanted to talk to you for a bit, and this is a lot of fun. Shooting the shit with you, Yazi. Like, you're a really cool dude, and honestly, like, I really like how with your content, man, it's fun. It's just I don't know what
Mm.
to say. Like you add fun to things like deck tech videos. It's not just deck tech. You're out and you're embracing Reinar. You're a brute and you're going around and I love like watching you in the cave and I remember this one time you're like, oh man, this is a lot hotter than I expected and like
Yeah, it
yeah, it
was.
looked hot in that cave, dude.
Yeah, I tell you what, I was very tired after going an hour up and then, realizing how hot it was. Oh, do you remember? It was like the second jump that I did. It was like I was jumping over two ledges,
Uh
and
huh.
the second jump that I did, I like full busted up my leg.
Oh geez, really? I
Yeah,
didn't see that.
yeah.
Did you like cut after that?
No, no. Well, there wasn't a lot of cuts, but
Mhm.
like, so I jumped down and like it did this like big boom,
Oh jeez.
and like I landed straight on my heel, and like my heel didn't like heal for like 2 weeks,
Oh
and throughout the
man.
entire weeks I was unloading containers. I'm like,
You be careful, man. Like,
nah,
your
I should be
body's
right.
what is it? I don't know. Well, cuz I saw, dude, that reminds me, what about your I love helmets. I love
Yeah.
helmets. Like that looked like a really big hit like to your head.
No, that wasn't me.
Oh, that wasn't you?
No, no, that's
Oh,
something I stole off Reddit because I'm
oh,
like,
that looked like
the
you. Oh man.
everyone with long hair looks like me. No, no, that I wish that was me. That'd be awesome. But no, that was because how much I hate mechanologists.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah,
No, no,
man.
it was me all along. It was me all I'm lying.
Just put your face over it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I just I love your stuff. I'm looking forward to more stuff in Monarch, and another thing I want to note too, and what's going to be great, and you probably encompass this too, is it's great making content. Even though I'm not like doing this for profit or making money. I'm doing it for because both of us are doing
You
this because
like
it's
making
passion.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm,
We like making it. We love the game, but it's really cool. Like it's intangible wealth in a way. Like we get to say we were there from the ground floor. Well, you can
mm.
say you were there from floor zero. I can say I was there from floor three. Like three is a pretty low number, and it's gonna be
Like
cool to see how this game ages and like
it,
how we were in the forefront. I don't know.
mm.
That's what's gonna be cool for me.
It doesn't matter because you chose to play it.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, you chose to play it when it was new, like
Yep.
still new. And in my opinion, like a lot of people like will just pick up the card game because they like trying new card games and like cycling through it all. But you stuck with it
Yeah.
from the start, and because of how good the game is, how good the company is, how good the lore is, how good everything is with it.
Yeah,
It's
for
like
all these crazy amount of reasons. It's just nuts, man. It's like no other, and I can't wait to see what else is unfold. And I definitely want to talk to you again too after
yeah, no,
Monarch
look,
releases. It's gonna be. I'm sure we're gonna have like another 2 to 3 hours of thinking of like, oh, how did this change the name of the game, and now it's like completely different. And yeah,
yeah. Yeah, no, look, a hard person to get in contact with.
dude, me
But
too.
like,
Honestly,
yeah. So like, if it ever comes up, message me. I'll try my best to jump on. Yeah.
sounds good, man. Well, thanks for your time. Oh, and hey, before we end, man, let's plug your channel. So, what's your channel name? What you're all about? If people want to reach
Uh,
out to you, I'll put a link down below for your channel. But yeah,
sure. My name is Yazi, and I make brute content, and I think, and I will be making other content, but I mainly make brute content.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right,
I don't know what else to say.
brute con. Well, no, it's true, man. You dress up
Yeah.
as a brute. You're a brute, and yeah, dude, I love your shit. But yep. Well, good
Yeah.
talking to you, Aussie. I'll
Yeah.
talk to you soon, man.
Easy peasy.